This is the peak of the 3DS era. This is where Nintendo has perfected everything with the 3DS console. And guess when the original 3DS has been released? Well, at the time of making this video, 15 years ago, back in 2011, it's crazy, time just flies. After the success of the original Nintendo DS, Nintendo had to come up with a new idea. And back in 2011, they promised us gamers glasses-free 3D gaming on the go. And back then it was like something really revolutionary, like 3D gaming that is just crazy on a handheld console. But Nintendo did it. And despite the rough start of the 3DS, they perfected the console. And what you can see here is just absolutely, it's just the peak of the 3DS. It has everything what gamers wanted, and the small, like let's say, not faults, but those imperfections what the original release had has been improved and has been fixed in this release. And as 3DS is one of my favorite handheld consoles, I decided to tell you why I love this console, tell you about the history and everything what you have to know if you're planning to buy a 3DS today. So without any further delay, let's jump into the video.
The story of the 3DS is one of redemption. When the original 3DS launched in March 2011, it was actually a very rough start. The console was expensive, the battery life was lackluster, and the sweet spot for the 3D effect was so narrow it felt like you were trying to balance a needle on your nose. But after the success of the DS, it was a completely new device, and the promise of glasses-free 3D effect was something really unique. Because of the rough start, Nintendo had to pivot fast. They slashed the price within months and introduced the original XL in 2012. That was the time when I bought my original blue 3DS XL back then. This release gave us those beautiful large screens, but the internals were mostly the same. We still lacked the second analog sticks, and the 3D was still incredibly finicky. However, I have to say I was okay without the second analog stick, and if I was just sitting, for example, on the couch, the 3D effect was okay. But on a moving bus or in a car, it was much more difficult to enjoy the 3D. Then, in late 2014 and early 2015 came the new era. This was the mid-generation refresh that changed the game. It wasn't just a bigger screen, it was a total overhaul of the hardware's philosophy. So why do we call this the definitive version? Let's break down the jump from the original XL to the new 3DS XL. First of all, the processing power. The new models featured a faster CPU. This meant the system menu didn't lag, games like Super Smash Bros. Loaded in seconds rather than minutes, and it even enabled exclusive games like Xenoblade Chronicles 3D that the old hardware just couldn't run. Secondly, the controls. For years, 3DS players had to lug around the Circle Pad Pro attachment if they wanted a second stick. The new 3DS XL fixed this with the C-Stick. It's a tiny rubber knob that feels like an old laptop cursor, but it works perfectly for camera control in games like Monster Hunter or The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D. Plus, they added two extra shoulder buttons, the ZL and ZR, finally bringing the handheld closer to a full console controller layout. And, of course, the build of the console has been changed. Nintendo moved the cartridge slot to the bottom, swapped the SD card for a micro SD card, and moved the stylus to a more central location. It felt more professional, more refined, and significantly more final. But the real reason to own a new model is a super stable 3D. On the original models, if you tilted the console even a fraction of an inch, the 3D image would double or blur, giving you eye strain and headache immediately. On the new 3DS XL, the console uses an infrared camera to track your eyes. It actually shifts the 3D layer in real time to match your head position, and it works just perfectly. This is the moment the 3D stopped being a gimmick. You could actually move while playing. You could lean into a turn in Mario Kart or shift your grip without the world turning into a blurry mess. For the first time, the 3D wasn't something you turn off after 5 minutes, it became the primary way to play. I use the 3D all the time while I'm playing on my 3DS. People often knock the 3DS for its resolution, but looking at these screens today, there's a charm that hasn't faded. Because the screen is smaller than a modern tablet or phone, the pixel density feels just right. And when you slide that 3D toggle up, The world gains a depth that no other modern handheld can replicate even today. Games like Super Mario 3D Land or Metroid Samus Returns look stunning. It's not about raw power, it's about how that 3D effect adds a layer of physicality to the world. It makes the screen feel like a window into a tiny living diorama. For me, this adds so much to the gaming experience that I wouldn't play 3DS games on any other platform. If you're looking to pick up one of these today, there are a few things you need to know. Since these are getting older, the market can be a bit tricky. First of all, the IPS versus TN lottery. This is the big one for collectors. New 3DS XLs ship with two types of screen, IPS and TN. IPS screens have better viewing angles and deeper colors, while TN screens can look a bit washed out from the side. You can have dual IPS, dual TN, or a mix. While both are great, dual IPS is the holy grail for collectors. And what did I get? Well, I got a top TN and a bottom IPS screen. Am I happy about it? Of course, I don't mind, it is a fantastic screen. And there's the hinge quality. 3DS hinges are designed to have a bit of wobble to prevent them from snapping, but check for cracks or excessive looseness if it is possible. Also, the metallic finish. The metallic black, blue and red models look stunning, but the paint on the new models is known to peel over time if you're not cared for. Look for units that were kept in a shell, like mine. These shells are cheap, however makes the unit a bit more bulky. And also the region locking. Remember that the 3DS is region locked. A Japanese unit won't play US or EU games unless you are comfortable with custom firmware, which luckily is a very active scene for this console. For me, the new 3DS XL represents the end of an era. It was the last time Nintendo really experimented with how we perceive games through hardware before moving to the hybrid model of the Switch. There's a tactile joy of the 3DS, the click of the hinge, the stylus, the dual screens. It's a focused gaming machine. It doesn't want to be your phone or your media center. You just want to play Nintendo games in the most immersive way possible. The new Nintendo 3DS XL was Nintendo putting everything they learned over a decade of handheld gaming into one final glorious shell. It's the ultimate version of one of the best libraries in gaming history. It is the end of the clamshell design, and it really ended at the top, or let's say, at the peak.
And probably I'm never going to sell this console, because nowadays you can emulate 3DS games even upscaled and with a little bit better quality on various handheld systems, but this is the real thing. And what is very important, that you can emulate the 3DS games, but you cannot emulate the 3D effect. And I know that this is a bit of like a controversial topic. Some people not even using the 3D never used it because they had headache or they just felt it's like a gimmick, but I really love it. And a lot of games with the 3D, it gives some kind of it's a really good experience which never can be experienced in 2D. Like for example the Pilot Things Resort game, which I really love it. Check out my review here. Or Star Fox 64 3D, and even just like Fire Emblem games, which just gives like a depth of the battlefield. It's a different kind of experience. And don't forget, it is handheld, so you don't need like special glasses, like a VR headset or anything. You can play this on the go. This is why I'm not going to get rid of my 3DS. And it's just the fact that, as I said, that this is where really this era has been ended, and it's really peaked, this clamshell design, because after this Nintendo Switch has been released, and as things are looking now, we're not going to have these kind of consoles anymore. But if you think about it, we don't even need, okay, maybe with a stronger processor and we can get a better 3D, but maybe this era is over. But I'm glad that I have this, because the game library is insane, and you have a lot of very good games on the 3DS which you can enjoy. So I'm going to keep this console as long as it works. I'm going to protect it. I have this little clear shell for it, which protects the metallic. Not a metallic case, but the top and bottom cover of it. Originally I wanted to buy the blue one, the metallic blue, because blue is one of my favorite colors, but I got a good deal on this one, so I was like, okay, let's go for this one. And you can ask if I have this 3DS, why I have the original Midnight Blue DSi XL. Well, if you would like to know, check out this video, and I'm going to tell you why I booked this, despite I had the 3DS. And I hope that you enjoyed this review today. And if you did, please subscribe to my channel, because I'm on my way to 1000 subscribers. Thank you for watching, and I'm going to see you in the next Backlog Quest video. Goodbye.